How are you? It's good to see you.
See you too.
And here we go. They say we have to put on his seatbelt. Okay, we're going we're
We're gonna
going
get to higher
going up. We're going up.
heights.
Actually, what truth
Higher.
matters is that the highest place is actually going to be down here. But to be able to we have to go up to come down here and see how it's really over here. Everything is over here. Okay. Now we spoke before in a few concepts, and just to sort of to be able to get into what we're going to talk about, we have to sort of review a few concepts over here. One concept that we learned was that there's such a thing which is called a vessel, and there is light which comes into the vessel. Okay, when light comes into a vessel, or power comes into a vessel, so in general, that vessel limits that power. Example, that a person has the power of eyesight, and the power of eyesight is revealed in an eye, and therefore a person can see physicality. And when the soul is in the Gan Eden, before or afterwards, goes back to Gan Eden, so then he receives an eye which is a spiritual eye. So he perceives spirituality. So the power of seeing is dependent on what kind of eye. That's an example. Okay, so therefore, the concept is that a vessel generally limits. We're going to see today that there's an exception. Okay, so that's one concept that we have to get into. The other concept we have to get into is what's called, in Hebrew, it's called atzmi. Atzmi, in real translation, means something which is independent. It's not dependent on something else. Okay, and generally, you can have things which are are relatively independent. Okay. In other words, you have something which is when you have it in logic. So you have the foundation of logic. It's called the axiom. So axiom doesn't change, so that the logic can function. Okay. So in terms of relationship, the axioms are considered independent of afterwards the logic. Okay, so we're going to get into these kind of concepts during this class. So that's why you're so ready to go into it. Okay, all right. So now we're into generally in this part of the Bible. We're now going to start chapter number 383, and and we're in generally into the discussion of learning how to daven. And so the pre-run to that, we spoke yet about the order of how you daven. And now, just so we're going to sort of sidetrack and go back to the other concept, which is the concept of learning Torah. Why the other concept? Because davening is going up, so that you're going to bring something down. And when, according to the way that you go up, that's what your vessel to bring down. Whereas the learning of the Torah is different. The learning of Torah is really something which is coming from above, but you have to have, so to speak, a vessel to receive it. So in other words, you need the davening to be able to receive, make yourself a vessel to receive what has been given to you in the Torah. Okay, so it's not as though that your davening causes, so to speak, that the Torah should be given to you. It's not that. The Torah has been given from above. Your ability to absorb it, your ability to receive it, and you have to have a preparation of praying. And this preparation of praying makes you a vessel, because we spoke yesterday about the concept that person wakes up in the morning and feels himself a separate entity, and he has to work on making the lie become a truth, that there's nothing else but the creator. So therefore, I have to connect myself with the creator. So therefore, when he goes to learn the Torah, he has to have a proper way of looking at the Torah. A person could make a mistake and think that his logic is the tops, or anything with his logic accepts, that's the Torah. That's not the way it goes. The Torah is a creator himself, can be offered that he put himself into the Torah. As it says that when the Hashem says to us, "Learn the Torah, you're taking me. You are becoming united with him. So now we have to go into this concept of how is it, that, so to speak, that where's the place where Hashem comes into the Torah? Where is it? It begins on a level of the world, which is called the level of Chochmah. Translation in English, wisdom, but it's really is known at the level of the world of Atzilus, that the first level revelation in the world of Atzilus is the level of Chochmah. And Chochmah is different than the other parts of the what's called the Seder Shtalshelus, the worlds as they come from one to go down to a lower level. The first one is different. Why is the first one different? Because Chochmah is a vessel for the revelation of the wisdom of the Torah. And the Creator himself, Kaviyachol, put himself into this wisdom. Okay, so in the level of wisdom, there is a vessel, and there is the light of the Torah that is in this vessel of wisdom. Now, it's not like the other places where you have light and you have a vessel, where the vessel limits the light. Here, it's not like that. Here, the Creator himself, so to speak, limited himself to put himself into the letters of the Torah, and it's a self-limitation, so to speak. It's not something outside that's making a limitation, as it generally would be with a vessel. It's so to speak, an inner limitation, which is now able to be revealed in the letters of the Torah. Okay, so now it goes into so to speak. We should understand where do we see that the Torah is really not limited to our understanding, because the level of wisdom comes down that we should be able to grab onto it, and the fact that we can understand something in the Torah is really a blessing, because why? Because really the whole Torah is the wisdom of the Creator, and to think that someone who was something was created could understand something from the Creator. It's only because of the greatness of the Creator that it could let us to do something. So even if we understand something, it's really in its source above understanding. The Rebbe explains that. So now I have to go into a few examples. Where do we see in the Torah the things which the basic of the idea is not logical, but if you don't have such a axiom, so then you can't function. So there are axioms in the Torah which are not logical. One of the axioms is it says that if a person, let's say two people are arguing, each one says that the land belongs to, each one claims it's his land. One is living in the land, the other one is claiming it's his land. So we don't know which was really belonged, and nobody can bring any proof. So even one person that's sitting in the land, he says it's for sure it's mine. Another one says it's for sure it's mine. So what do? So the Torah says that you leave the land in the place where it is. You don't change anything. If the person who wants to claim that it's his land wants to take it out from the other person, he has to bring a proof. So it's not logical. Could say the opposite around. That the person who was in the land, he has to prove it. Right? And there are places in the world that's like that. The law is like that. People have to prove that what they have is theirs. But the Torah says no. That if a person has something, then that's his, unless it's proven not like that. So therefore, we have something in wisdom, which is really an axiom, which is above wisdom. Then we have another thing. Then in Shabbos, we have different places in Shabbos which have different rules to them. Right? We have what's called the Rishus Yachid, person's a domain, and there's certain rules that makes it a domain. And then you have what's the Rishus Harabim, the public area, and certain rules, and then you have something which is in between. And it's not logical. That's the way it is. Another proof is that we know that if a person has a clothes, it's tzitzis. Okay, so the rule that says in the Torah that when you put on tzitzis, you should be able to see them, remember the mitzvahs. So therefore, it's logically that during the law is that you have to wear tzitzis during the day. But at night, you could have a garment which has four corners. It doesn't have tzitzis, and that's okay because it's night. Okay, so we see that it would make logical sense that if you can see the tzitzis, it remembers, it reminds you. So then, then that's why you have to have tzitzis during the day. Okay, so what's going to be with a person who is blind, Lorraine? Is he going to have to wear tzitzis? Four-quarter garment with tzitzis is going to have to wear with tzitzis or not? So a person would think, well, if it says you have to look at it, remember the mitzvahs, he can't see. So then he logically say that he doesn't have to have tzitzis. What does the Torah say? No, he has to put the tzitzis on the garment with four corners. Why? Because if even though that he can't see them, but other people could see them. So again, so you have logic that it doesn't go according to logic. There's two opposites. And different examples. Another example is this: if there's a hole in the ground, right, and somebody's animal falls into the hole, so has to pay for damages. But if there are different kalim, there's different different parts or something could break, something breakable that's portable. So if it was in the back of the animal and it get broken, so it doesn't have to pay for it. But the animal has to pay for the damages, but not for the things on top. What's the logic behind that? That's the proof that even though the Torah is revealed in logic, in things in letters which our mind can grasp, but the source of it is really above it. And so then it goes in to explain that the fact that a person has the Torah, as the Torah, since it's coming from above the world, so therefore, when a person learns Torah, he can learn Torah even though he's impure. It doesn't affect the Torah, because the Torah is really in source above the world. And even more, it says that if a person that has a problem with the Yetzer Hara, she should grab him and pull him into learn Torah, and it'll help him to get over the situation. And because why? Because the Torah, in essence, is above. And even though, as I said before, that it came down into our logic, into our understanding, but it's really in its sources above. Okay, so where we see in the person also this concept that his understanding is really is rooted in his above his understanding is for the fact that a person will, if he's enjoying learning something, so then he'll do it better. Right? The person wants to build a house and that's what he's into. So he'll go and do it and figure out all the best way to do it the best way. Why is it like that? Because the source of wisdom is really in the pleasure of the person. So too that the essence, part of the creator, the atmos, the part which doesn't change, is invested in the Torah. And Hashem says, learn the Torah, and you're taking me, you're becoming unified with me. And therefore, a person that studies the Torah and he studies it with the purpose of connecting himself with Hashem, so he is actually implanting in his soul unbelievable levels of holiness that only when the Geula comes and everything becomes revealed, as we'll see, all the unbelievable the levels that the Creator wanted to give to us and wanted to be unified with us. And so therefore that's what we're now, so to speak, in this chapter, getting an understanding of the difference between davening and learning Torah. When we daven, so we have to prepare ourselves to be a vessel to receive according to our vessel. That's what we will receive. Whereas when we learn the Torah is really coming from above, and it's coming from not according to the way that we prepare, but we have to be a vessel to receive. Another example is brought that if a person as a teacher and he sees that his pupils are not ready to to receive some great ideas, so he tells them that they have to make preparations to study this, to study that, to make preparations. So they make preparations. The fact that they make preparations doesn't mean that he's going to decide that doesn't mean that they can force him to say what he wants to say. In their preparations only that when he decides that they're ready, then he'll give the idea. So too, that we can prepare ourselves to be able to have a vessel to be ready to receive, but really what's coming in the Torah is a level which is above. It's not according to our preparations that we cause it to receive. Whereas in davening is not like that. Davening is that the level which is revealed is a result of your preparation. Okay, and that is on 1 foot the concept of chapter number 383, and we should have Zocher that we should now be able to see everything in the Gula, take Mamash, Chi, Adanena, Melech HaMashiach,